Hey, this is John Young here from the Disc Jockey News. Tonight, we're going to be doing a little presentation talking about surviving as a mobile DJ. Now, as we go forward into 2021 and beyond, for some of us, we're getting back into business. For some of us, it's been a crazy time of doing shows. And I've got a few tips and things to share with you tonight that will help you, hopefully, become a little more productive, maybe a little bit more sane in this time of craziness. So we're going to jump right into that. But before I get into that side of our show tonight, I want to make sure you get a chance to check out the sponsors. The sponsors that you see right below me here, the sponsors are basically the folks who help put things like this together. They're the ones that help fund what we do here at DJN TV. So please show them some love. We've got a variety of different sponsors out there that can help you with a variety of different parts of your business. Whether it's gear, whether it's information, whether it's music, they're there. They can help to make you much better. So please check it out. In the description of this video, there are the links to the sponsors. Click those, check out the different sponsors we have. And if you're in need of some of the services, please give them a shot, because they are, again, the ones that help fund education for DJs. So let's just jump right into our topic tonight. We're going to be talking about surviving as a mobile DJ. And I've broken it down into a variety of different areas this evening for what we're going to be hitting. We're going to be talking a little bit about financial, how to survive financially going forward, talking about physically, how we can survive this physically. And this will actually be an area, the physically side of it. I'm going to back up to that. Let's go back to that. Physically is something I'm actually going to be talking about on August 16th. If you look at down below us, that's our next DJ and TV training night. And I'm going to be going into some tips on how to, and it's a little more than I'll be hitting here, but some ideas on how to become more physically apt to continue on as we get older in the DJ world. For some of us, we're hitting our 50s, and some of us are getting into the 60s. We've been in this for a long time, and we start to see that our bodies just aren't holding up. So we're going to talk more about that on August 16th on our night to be a fearless DJ. It's really going to be a cool night for you. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the mental side of it, the personal, how to survive personally and then professionally. So those are our 5 areas we're going to be hitting tonight. So we're going to start out financially, how you can survive financially, in which 2020 was a huge year for learning that our industry is no longer this recession-proof, this foolproof way of making money. Up until that point, no matter really what happened in the world, people were paying for entertainment. I remember the first time we were in Vegas, and I think it was Mark Farrell was up on the stage, and he made the reference, and I'm sure somebody else made it before, at different times. But when he said it, was up on stage talking about how the DJ industry and entertainment specifically was somewhat recession-proof. Even during the darkest times of the 20s, the 1920s, people were still spending money on entertainment. They were still going to speakeasies or whatever. They were still going out and doing things. And then all of a sudden, 2020 hit us, and we were completely shot. So the financial side is something that most of us haven't really thought too much about up until that time. The first thing I would do, even though we are beyond that, hopefully, I would make it a point to pay down debt. For many of you, you've already done this, and I've heard reports from DJs out there who have taken the different things that were available in 2020 and used that to pay down their credit card debt, pay down some of their personal debt is what we're really talking about here. Even some of the business debt is not good business debt. If you listen to Dave Ramsey, we're going to refer to Dave a couple of times in this little segment, there aren't too many debts that would be considered good debt. When you owe someone money, that's just money thrown away each and every month on interest. We all know that. So make it a priority to pay down some of that debt. Then when you get into that point of having to make purchases, don't overextend. Don't ever extend on purchases. It should be overextend. I must have had a typo there. But don't overextend on purchases. You need to reach to go buy. You want to buy a car, and you're like, oh, I could get this late model car. It's about 2 or 3 years old, and I can pay this. Or I could pay another $5,000 and get this brand new one. Sometimes that might make sense, and if you can afford it and you're good to go with that, and you can pay cash for most of it, or however you could do it, you got to weigh that out. But if you have to reach, and all of a sudden it's like, well, for 5 years I can give up coffee 3 days a week to pay for this. that's overextending, and you don't want to be doing that. So be very cognizant of your purchases and don't overextend. The best way to do that is to kind of set budgets of what you're going to be having available to purchase gear. You want to have a budget for gear. You want to have it for training and any improvements you're going to be doing. Most of that should be covered in your business plan. If you don't have a business plan, we've got a variety of different videos out on the Disc Jockey News world on talking business plans. Some are very simple, and they can get you just kind of whet your appetite a little bit if you don't have a business plan. Some Drax and I went through, and it's very in-depth on what each step would be of the business plan. But the idea is that you have to have a plan, and you have to have an idea of where your money is going to be going and dedicating those things to go there before. Because if you're reactionary when it comes to your money, generally that means that you're going to be in kind of a little bit of a world of hurt with that. One big place to start is Dave Ramsey, and many of you have heard, you've read, but if you're new to the Dave Ramsey, there's the first three, the baby steps, are the ones that I want to hit. He's got 7 baby steps he talks about. Baby step 1 basically is to go and put $1,000 into the bank, going and getting that emergency fund set up. That one I would highly recommend. If you don't have that, do it today. For some people, that was a lifesaver in 2020. For some people, step 3 was the ultimate lifesaver in 2020 before the different kind of payroll protection, all those things kicked in. But step 1 is to get that $1,000 saved up. And then we just talked about it. Step 2 is pay off all those debts. Get those credit cards paid off. He talks about a snowball process. You need to kind of go and hear Dave talk about these. And then getting your 3 to 6 months of expenses all put together. These are great starting points, and they should be, if you don't do any of the rest of it, those are 3 things you really should do, because those 3 things could have saved many people from this whole eviction thing that's going to be starting here. This could have saved them if they could have done these 3 steps. Yes, we were out of work as DJs for more than 6 months, but if it would have been there, we would have, if we would have had that done, it would have helped to get us through to the point where we were able to get some assistance and make things work on the end. Or for some of us, we pivoted and we were doing different jobs, and we just had that little 6 weeks of like, oh my gosh, the world's burning. But anyway, financially, check it out, figure out what's going to work best for you. Jumping into the next area, physically. First thing I would do is, if you don't see your doctor on a regular basis, I would highly recommend you go and see your doctor. Get a physical if you're getting into that 45 and up, which a lot of us are. Go see the doctor. I haven't seen him for 10 years, but I'm feeling great. Yeah, no, you need to go get things checked out, make sure everything is working, the plumbing's all working, and all the blood tests are coming back. So there's nothing to worry about, because the second part of, in order to continue beyond the age of, and this is what I'll talk about more in August 16th, is you need to get yourself active. And that might mean hiring a personal trainer who can, after the doctor said, you know what, you can go and start working out. You can start exercising. Personal trainer would be a great spot, or even a physical therapist. Some hospitals will actually get you started on that process. But you can't continue to just sit and hope your body's going to be good enough to go on a regular basis. You need to be intentional, and you need to set up an exercise program and a strengthening program. If nothing else, start off with 30 minutes a day. That could be 30 minutes of walking a day, 30 minutes of combined walking and biking. It could be lifting a little bit of weights here and there. Whatever it is that you put together with your physical trainer and your physical therapist, commit to doing something for 30 minutes a day. You'll start at 30 minutes a day, and for the first 4 months, 30 minutes seems like it's impossible to do at times. After you get past a 4-month period, 5-month period, all of a sudden 30 minutes, it doesn't seem like that long. And then you get to the point where it's like 45. Then you commit to start for 30 minutes a day. Then it's all about eating. You can exercise all you want, but if you're still eating junk, if you eat like a teenager, and the junk we ate as teenagers and what we drank as teenagers, you're going to have problems. So you need to start eating as a mature person. You're going to have to be an adult now in what you're eating. That whole fruits and vegetables thing, and the Doritos stay off to the side, and the Mountain Dew, oh heavens. You need to be more responsible when it comes to eating, because as they say, put garbage in, garbage, yeah, that's true when it comes to the food. So you need to start eating correctly. And then, of course, to keep yourself in a level of physical physical success, having a level of physical success, to be there physically, you need to have rest, and you need to basically plan time away to recharge the battery, which will start to take us into the mental side. But rest is a really important thing when it comes to exercise and working out. You can't lift weights heavy every day. It just doesn't work. But I can go for a walk one day, and the next day maybe it's a little heavier workout day, and then I do a recovery walk the next day, and then I might do something else. You can vary things up, but you need to have that time where you're not pushing each and every day, because your body, as you get over the 45, 50, it doesn't heal up and it doesn't repair quite as fast. So it needs its time to rest and recoup to get you there to the next level. But the mental part is what I want to hit next, because we go and we do all these things, but sometimes we kind of don't worry too much about the recharge mentally. And the mental part of it is so important for so many things, because it starts with a mind attitude, your mind and your proper attitude. And part of that proper attitude starts with the people that you surround yourself. There are toxic people in your life, and some of them are family, and you can't get away from them, and I get that. But there's people that we run into on some of our friends, acquaintances, some people online. If there are toxic people in your world, you need to start to kind of distance yourself a little bit from those people. Those are the people who are going to find the negative in everything. They're constantly complaining. They're always looking for ways to bring themselves and others around them, more others around them, down. You don't need that in your life. Those people who are hurting on the inside like that, many times are looking out to lash out and hurt others. And we can get caught up in that spiral, and just it's toxic. So step away from those toxic people. Then be aware that there's toxicity in our information sources. If you're going and getting information from some sources, some have a bend on them to be as mean and vile as possible, and to really make it so you're having a crappy day no matter what. You can't read anything without basically just having this emotional, just gut-wrenching experience of downness. You don't need that. Find spots where you can get your information either in a generic plain form, in essence, for lack of a better way to describe it, or find other sources of information that aren't always going to be bringing, just grinding the life out of you. There's a lot of toxicity out there. Then you got to keep in mind there's things in our lives that we can control and we can do something about, and there's a lot of things in life that we have no control. Should I be sitting here worried about what's going on half a world away? I want to be aware that those things are happening, but in reality, can I, as I sit here, do something about? I can't. There's things beyond my control. I can be aware of them, but for me to sit there and worry and fret and whatever, I can't control that. I can't fix those things. I can't do that. It's beyond I can't handle. I can't. So those are beyond my control. But there's things in my life that I can. Maybe I'm aching because I haven't been active enough and my muscles are. I can control that. I can fix that. I can work towards improving that. Be aware of the things you can work towards improving and you can control, and the things you cannot control. Getting back kind of to those, there's the toxic people, and then there's people in your life that will build you up and make you a better person. And those are the people you want to surround yourself with. The uplifting people. They talk about, the rising tide rises all ships type of thing. Well, if you have people who are striving to be better, striving to grow those around them, that concept and that person is someone you're going to want to emulate and you're going to want to join. So looking for those people who will kind of build you up and take you to another level is really huge when it comes to selecting friends, selecting those you want to work with. Next is starting a day with a kind of a thankful mindset. Sometimes when people wake up in the morning, the first thing is like, oh my gosh, I've got so many things I've got to do today. I've got this and this and this and this and this. And we get to that. We just start doing that. And what that ends up doing is just kind of grinding us down right away to start the day. Instead of doing that, think of intentionally have a little list of things, or come up with a list of things that you're thankful for, or something that, that makes you happy. People you love. Think of these positive things to start your day. And it's not going to be something that just comes naturally. You need to work on this and be intentional about it. Maybe you need to put a picture of your dog next to your bed. When you wake up and you see the picture of your dog, you could think, oh, you know what? I need to think of 5 things that I love every day. My dog being one of them. Little things like that will help you start the day in a positive mindset. Starting the day in a good place makes it so that it's easier to stay in a good place as you go throughout the day. Start your day in a bad place mentally, and it usually just kind of does that kind of a thing. The final thing, keeping your mental health, is finding ways to help other people. Really, we are designed to be servants or helpers of other people, helping other people grow, helping other people improve, helping other people in need. That's what we're here for there as as humanity. Look for those opportunities. Some are going to be little times, some are going to be bigger things. Don't be just because you can't do something great like going and digging wells for a community in Africa or going to northern Minnesota and doing something to put out fires or whatever. Just because you can't do something big, that doesn't mean you can't do something small. Small things like helping a senior citizen with their getting their groceries into their car, or holding doors here and there. Little things, looking ways to help someone can be big. I've got some friends who their goal is they want to try to find five different every day, 5 ways or 5 people that they can help. Could be small, could be larger, but every day their goal is I want at least 5 opportunities that I can go and help. So that gives them, they're looking for these opportunities. They're looking for ways to serve, and it puts them in that humble servant mindset, which really helps them can keep that mental focus on being in a good place, as opposed to it's all about me. I can make it so I'm out there to help other people. And that's really kind of a thing that helps to warm the heart or fill the heart with something better than, that whole, the Grinch thing that you will be hearing about in a few months. Yeah, looking for opportunities to serve and help others. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about personally ways that we can survive. We're gonna break it down into 2 areas. We're gonna talk about family and then some of our relationships. So, in our personal lives, family. One of the big things that a lot of DJs over the years have found is that they've got to really block out and honor family time. 2020 showed us that hey, we can be around on weekends for our family, and it's actually kind of fun. So, 2021 rolls around, the calendar got busy for some DJs, and now I'm hearing that I screwed up. I should have blocked out a weekend a month or every other weekend a month. Some did. They basically said, well, I'm not going back to a full-time schedule like that. I want that time with my family. Whatever you do, block it out and honor that family time. Don't block it out and say, okay, the third Saturday is my Saturday to be home, and then all of a sudden you're taking a last-minute event. Yes, money's great, and oh yeah, we can always justify and say, this $2,000 from this last-minute event will give us a trip to wherever. It doesn't happen that often. Unless you're going to buy the tickets immediately type of thing, it's not going to happen. That money goes into the general business fund, and then it goes into pay bills, and then it's like, well, okay, I just gave that family time away from the perspective of your family and children. Honor that family time. If you set it aside, it's there for them and them only. Family time is family time. Business is business. If you're home on a weekend on the family, you're there for family time, or you're on a vacation, you're there with them. You're mentally there with them. You're enjoying that moment. You're not thinking, oh gosh, when I get back to the office, okay, I gotta go paint that speaker. I've got to redo that. My trailer. Oh, I got to repack the bearings in it. No, when you're there with them, be with them. You can think about all those, make notes before you leave, whatever. But when you leave that office, shut the door, shut the business off in your head, and now enjoy your time with the family. Be there for your kids. Be there for your spouse. The business is there, and it will be there. Your time with family is limited. Yes, you're going to have more time with your spouse, hopefully, and you'll have 30, 40, 50 years with them. But the time with your children is very, very, very small. And there's going to, let's say you're going to take them to Disney. You probably are only going to be taking them to Disney half a dozen times. That's just the way it is. They get older. All of a sudden, they've got jobs in the summer, this, that, and the other thing, and you're not going to have those opportunities. So having a memory of dad on the phone, talking to someone, trying to sell or write up a contract from Disney, not a great memory for the kids. Having a memory of mom on the rides with the kids and having a great time, that's a memory that they're going to hang on to. So family time is family time. Business time, yes, sometimes the business time, there's emergencies and you got to deal with that. I'm not saying don't do that, but try to keep it so that they're separate as much as possible. If you have multiple children or multiple spouse and children, really be intentional about planning to spend individual time with them. Yes, you can sometimes do groups of 2 or groups of 3 or the whole family together. And those are great moments also because you can watch interaction that you don't get to see, especially if you're going somewhere. But if you can't do that all the time or very much. Sometimes just having it so that, maybe on this Saturday or Sunday morning, whatever, we're going to go out for breakfast and you're taking one of the children with you. Then next Sunday, you're taking another one to lunch, whatever. But having that individual time is a great time for them to bond with you. And it's a great opportunity to learn who they are. Sometimes we forget, especially if they are growing so fast and we're busy with all of our things, we don't get to spend that time. And I've been blessed to be able to spend some time with a couple of our older children here. And it's one of those things I wish I would have been more intentional to do that early on, instead of just always grouping them and say, okay, all three of you, let's go, doing it individually. So please learn from my observations and lessons is to plan at individual time when you can. One thing to keep in mind is as we're out there performing on Fridays and Saturdays and we get to Sunday is perspective. We're tired. We've had a long weekend and we're shot. From our perspective, Sunday's a time we're going to go rest and such. Kind of maybe we'll take a nap in the afternoon. From our perspective, we're tired and we deserve that, which we certainly do because we have been up. We probably have regular hours during the week, and then Friday and Saturday is weird. So we don't have anything left for Sunday. From the perspective of your children and spouse, sometimes they're going to look at it and say, wow, we want to do something with dad. And dad, basically Sunday's this day of no dad or grumpy dad or grumpy mom because they were up, whatever it is. Keep in mind of the perspective of the others when it comes to dealing with families. Sometimes they're going to view things, you're viewing it as, I'm bringing in money for the family. And they're viewing it as, well, we're losing our parent for the night. And sometimes the money isn't, what we think is important isn't as important in their world because they're coming at it with a completely different perspective. So don't just assume. Kind of try to ask questions and find out when you're dealing with situations like that, because they can open up a person's eyes really quick. So continuing personally, let's talk a little bit about friends. And we did earlier, we were talked about toxic people in our lives and not to find those building up. But one thing I would recommend is when we're going and trying to, we have friends, but really having a friend that have a group of friends that have similar interests. That doesn't have to be in the DJ industry. I'd like to do some remodeling, and I have some friends who are in the remodeling and that handyman world. I have friends in the fishing because I do a lot of fishing things, and then I have most of my friends are in the DJ world. But having a diverse group like that is really kind of cool. MJ's got some motorcycle friends that he goes out with, and then he's got his DJ friends he goes and can hang with. Having a diverse group, but yet people who you can, go and talk with. You could start talking shop and then branch into talking a little bit, maybe more on the personal side as you get to know these friends and they become some of your key friends. With those key friends is to really intentionally plan regular times to get in contact with them. Some of my friends I talk to pretty much every day or every other day. I've got other friends that I check in with once a week. I have friends that I check in with about once a month. Some I do on video, some is via phone call. The idea though is that some of those key friends you're connecting with on a regular basis, which helps in many ways to first off, keep some sanity in your world. If you have been stuck in an apartment in New York and you couldn't get out you could only be talking to people via digital medias, some sanity is saved. Secondly, is that they're going to know when things are going on in your life if you're at that personal level, and they're going to be able to hold you accountable or to ask questions that maybe others wouldn't ask of you, more superficial friends wouldn't. And that helps to keep a person kind of going forward in a positive manner. So you want to make sure you are staying in regular contact with your key friends. Another thing I would recommend when it comes to your friends is look for opportunities to help them on projects. It might be helping them paint a room. It might be going and helping them, dig some shrubs out of the backyard. It might be helping them, do with something on their website. I don't know what it is. Look for opportunities to be helpful. We're jumping back to kind of our serving others. Well, working on projects with your friends can be a lot of fun, and it can be kind of a team building thing. And sometimes that can branch into something that is completely unexpected, that everyone's, maybe there's a business that pops out of it, or maybe there's a door it opens, who knows? But look for opportunities to help. If nothing else, you're just going to be helping someone take a little extra work off their plate. And truthfully, as someone who has got a lot of people who help on things I do, it's hugely appreciated. So look for those opportunities. And again, kind of jumping back to the first one, diversify your friends so they're not all just DJs, that you've got in different groups and different things. Because last year, talking to my DJ friends, I love my DJ friends, and we all sat there and we were all kind of just like in shock. I could go and talk to some of my other friends who were having a great year right through that pandemic because of what their businesses were and what they were doing. So diversification is great for business, and it's also good for the friend side of it. Our final area is professionally, ways to survive professionally. And this has been kind of an ongoing thing, but look for ways in your professional life to serve others. It might be working to help a venue with some sound. It might be to help a city organization. It might be to help a church. But look for a way to use your skills within the professional realm to help others, because that's ultimately what we're here for. And if you can do that, if that good karma comes around, if you're out there doing that. Look, and professionally, there's going to be things that happen to us, or we hear about, or we observe, and really to grow as a professional, you want to look for ways to learn the lessons and takeaways from situations that you observe or you are involved with. Learning from experience, learning from others' experiences, learning from observation, just the ability to be able to learn and not make some of those mistakes. Sometimes we look at something and we write it off right away and saying, well, that was stupid, and we walk away. Take a little bit of time to evaluate what you just saw, what happened, and okay, what can I take away from this? How could I avoid being that person, or how could I get myself in a position to succeed like that? Sometimes that means to ask a question or two or three, but take that time. Don't let that opportunity pass you by. One thing that we don't do enough, I think, as DJs, or at least a lot of us as mobile DJs, is to practice our craft. Professionally, we feel that if we can just go and show up and play, we're good. That's okay. That's okay, but I don't want to be okay. I want to be good, great, or excellent, or whatever. You need to practice your craft. That practicing of that craft could be your mixing skills. It could be your knowledge of music. It could be your timing with beats and doing some things with that. It could be working on the microphone, practicing your craft. Practicing enunciation could be part of that process. Whatever it is, practicing your craft is so easily overlooked, and yet it's so critical to go from being above average to excellent. And then look for chances to learn and take training from inside our industry and outside our industry. There's a lot of great opportunities for training inside our industry, both digitally, like you're watching tonight, and there's different workshops and things you can go to. But there's also some different training that's available, whether it's a Toastmasters or sometimes Chambers of Commerce have a night where someone comes in. Schools have opportunities through their community education. There's a lot of possibilities of where you can learn, and you can learn from a variety of different things. I can go and sit in a group of accountants, and I will learn something that I could apply to my business. I can go sit into a room of hardware salespeople, and there's things that I will learn in that little seminar that I'm sitting in that will I can apply to my business. It may not apply directly, but it might be the inspiration for a thought that could make me more money down the road. So looking for chances to learn and take training inside and outside of the DJ industry is really an important thing. And then finally, look for opportunities to teach others, whether it's in your industry or out. Maybe you're coaching if you've got some athletic knowledge. Coaching might be some of it. Maybe you're teaching Sunday school at church. That would be an opportunity. Maybe you're doing a TED Talk for us here on DJN TV, or you're doing a seminar at one of the many DJ conventions out there. Look for your opportunity to teach. Line up that opportunity and then prepare for it. It isn't something that you can do in 10 minutes. Preparing to teach something means that you have to go and really dig into it. You have to learn the little nuances. When I was back in Sunday school and teaching Sunday school, I ended up getting into a couple of areas in which I wasn't that fluent in for the discussion side of it. So that meant that I had to go and study different resources and sources to really help these students understand this particular concept in which we were going to be teaching. And I became very, very well versed in this concept. But it took knowing that I had to teach it for me to research it and become a, quote, expert, for lack of a better way to describe it. So I got much better in my knowledge base of it as I taught the concept out to the students in the Sunday school class. So if you line it up in an area in which you are going to be able to research and develop a very good working knowledge of it, and be prepared to teach and have some fun with that. Well, that's pretty much it. These are some of my tips for surviving as a mobile DJ, and hopefully a couple of these would kind of ring true and make some sense to you. If you've got anything that you've done in some of these areas, like the mental side of it or the physical side, those are two that generally, we really kind of are working on. If you do something in those areas that help, keep your head on straight or to help you physically stay into it. And again, I'm going to be covering more of these August 16th on our Fearless Night. DJNTV.com/virtual expo is going to be the link for the show, and you can go check out the schedule for the night. It's already up. But if you've got something in those two areas, physical and mental, please put those down in the comment section below, because I'd love to kind of hear what you're doing and what's been working for you to keep your head on straight and keep yourself healthy. This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News. Once again, thank you for being with us, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.